Why billionaires are buying bunkers. What do they know? We live in a world of glittering skyscrapers, revolutionary technology, and unprecedented wealth. From private jets to space tourism, billionaires today appear to be living on the cutting edge of luxury and innovation. They are the visionaries, the decision-makers, and in many ways, the architects of our global future. But behind the scenes of this dazzling lifestyle, an unsettling trend is quietly emerging, one that raises more questions than answers. More and more billionaires are investing in underground bunkers. Not just any bunkers. These are luxurious, high-tech fortresses built deep beneath the surface, designed to withstand nuclear blasts, biological attacks, social collapse, and even climate catastrophe. Hidden beneath rural landscapes or tucked away in remote corners of countries like New Zealand, these subterranean homes are equipped with everything from hydroponic gardens to air filtration systems, biometric security, weapon caches, and years' worth of food and medical supplies. They are, quite literally, self-sustaining survival palaces. This isn't science fiction. It's not a plot from a dystopian thriller. It's happening right now, in our reality, financed by some of the most powerful people in the world. Tech moguls, hedge fund managers, celebrities, even former military and government elites are quietly preparing for a future they believe might spiral out of control. So the question we must ask is, why? Why are the people who have access to the best data, most advanced intelligence, and highest levels of societal influence building bunkers, while the rest of the world scrolls through social media and goes about life as usual? What do they see coming that the average person doesn't? Is this an act of paranoia, or a signal that something truly dark is on the horizon? This isn't just a story about bunkers. It's a story about fear, foresight, and the growing divide between the world's wealthiest individuals and everyone else. It's a story that touches on climate change, global instability, technological disruption, and a quiet but powerful shift in how the elite perceive the future of civilization. In this exploration, we'll peel back the curtain on this underground movement. First, we'll uncover the growing industry of luxury bunker building and how it has evolved in recent years. Then, we'll examine the motivations, both spoken and unspoken, driving billionaires to prepare for disaster. Finally, we'll ask what this means for the rest of us. Are these bunkers a wake-up call, or simply another manifestation of elite detachment from the realities of the world? Get ready to descend into a reality most of us never imagined. Because when the people with the most to lose start preparing for the end, maybe it's time we start paying attention. The billionaire bunker boom. What's really happening? To understand the deeper meaning behind the rising trend of bunkers among billionaires, we must first step into the world of extreme wealth, where the rules are different, the worries are different, and so are the solutions. In recent years, there has been a quiet but unmistakable shift happening in the upper echelons of global society. While ordinary people stock up on groceries during crises or worry about inflation and rent, the ultra-wealthy are thinking bigger, much bigger. They are preparing for a future where society may no longer function as it does today. And they're doing it by building bunkers, massive, opulent, and designed to outlast nearly any disaster imaginable. The market for luxury survival shelters has exploded. Companies like Rising S Company in Texas, Vivo S in South Dakota, and Opidum in Europe are no longer catering to military contracts or eccentric doomsday preppers. They are now working directly with multimillionaires and billionaires, tech moguls, CEOs, hedge fund managers, and celebrities, offering underground homes that cost anywhere from $500,000 to over $50 million. These aren't simple fallout shelters. They're futuristic sanctuaries that look like something out of a James Bond film. Imagine walking down a reinforced steel stairwell beneath your mansion and arriving in a place that looks more like a five-star hotel than a bunker. Marble floors, wine cellars, swimming pools, state-of-the-art gyms, full medical suites, private cinemas, libraries, and, most importantly, everything is designed to run completely off-grid. Solar panels, deep water wells, filtered air systems, and AI-controlled security that monitors every inch of the compound 24/7. In 2020, during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, interest in luxury bunkers surged. The pandemic served as a kind of wake-up call for many in the upper class. a reminder that no amount of money can completely shield you from global collapse. But instead of turning to community resilience or collective action, the response from many in the billionaire class was different. Get away, go underground, and survive alone. The trend didn't die down after the pandemic faded. In fact, it accelerated. As global tensions rose, Russia's war in Ukraine, rising tensions in the South China Sea, economic fragility, the escalation of climate disasters, the orders for bunkers continued to grow. Real estate agents in remote areas like New Zealand began seeing mysterious purchases from Silicon Valley elites. Some buyers even bought private islands or landlocked properties with landing strips, far from major cities. But they weren't just planning vacation homes, they were building fallback zones. Why New Zealand? It's considered one of the safest countries in the world, with low population density, political neutrality, and abundant natural resources. That's why billionaires like Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal and early investor in Facebook, purchased land there and secured citizenship. He even helped fund underground survival developments for high-net-worth individuals. But the question remains, why all the secrecy? Why are these bunkers hidden? Why are the companies that build them so discreet? And more importantly, what do these billionaires fear so deeply that they feel the need to hide underground? Some may argue it's just precaution. After all, these are people with large fortunes. They insure their homes, their health, their jets. A bunker, to them, is just another layer of protection. But this explanation feels incomplete. After all, they're not just buying simple panic rooms or insurance policies. They're investing tens of millions into fortresses capable of withstanding total societal collapse. That level of preparation suggests a different mindset, not just one of fear, but of expectation. Could it be that they know something we don't? What separates this new wave of bunkers from the old Cold War-era shelters is the mindset behind them. Back then, people built shelters out of national anxiety, fearing nuclear war or invasion. Today, billionaires are building bunkers not just out of fear, but based on access to intelligence, forecasts, and trends that the average citizen never sees. These people have teams of advisors, analysts, and futurists. They attend closed-door conferences. They own private satellites. They fund research institutions. Their insights into the direction of the world go far beyond what's shown on the nightly news. And so, when a group of individuals who are known for predicting future trends, people who saw the rise of cryptocurrency, artificial intelligence, and the internet before anyone else, start investing in underground bunkers, it's worth paying attention. Some are preparing for pandemics far deadlier than COVID-19. Others fear a cyber war or EMP attack that could wipe out global infrastructure overnight. Climate change looms large as well. Rising sea levels, mass migration, water shortages, food instability. Then there's the fear of political unrest, populist uprisings, or class warfare as income inequality becomes more extreme. We don't know exactly what each of them fears most. But what we do know is that they're not waiting to find out. They're acting now, and their actions are speaking louder than any words. Of course, the irony cannot be ignored. Many of the very people who have benefited most from the current system, who have helped build the digital, financial, and economic infrastructures we all rely on, are the same people now preparing to flee from it. It raises a profound question. If the creators and defenders of the current world order are preparing to survive its collapse, what does that say about the world we're living in? This is not to induce panic or preach doom, but it is a call for awareness. The bunker boom isn't just about concrete and steel. It's a reflection of something deeper, a growing sense that the system is fragile, the future is uncertain, and the time to prepare is not later, but now. In the next section, we'll go deeper into the psychology behind these actions. What exactly are billionaires afraid of? What scenarios are they planning for? And most importantly, what might they know that the rest of us are missing? The fears behind the fortresses, what do they know that we don't? To understand why billionaires are building bunkers, we must dig deeper, not into the ground, but into the psychology of the powerful. What are they truly afraid of? What future scenarios are they preparing to outlive? These are not ordinary people with vague fears or conspiracy theories. These are individuals with direct access to global data streams, intelligence briefings, financial forecasting models, and technological innovation pipelines. So when they start moving off the grid and reinforcing their escape plans, it raises a serious question. Do they know something we don't? Let's begin with one of the most obvious and immediate fears: climate collapse. For decades, climate scientists have issued warnings about rising temperatures, sea level rise, droughts, and superstorms. But in boardrooms and behind closed doors, the conversations go much further. There are discussions about climate tipping points, moments after which change becomes irreversible. Food supply chains could fail. Entire regions could become uninhabitable. Mass migration from climate-stricken nations could destabilize borders and economies. The wealthy may appear to be funding green tech and renewable energy on the surface, but behind the scenes, many are preparing for a future where those efforts might come too late. Then there is the looming threat of pandemics, not just COVID-19, but the next one. People forget how fragile our global health systems really are. COVID shut down entire economies, overwhelmed hospitals, and fractured supply chains. Now imagine a virus with a higher death rate, longer incubation time, or more advanced means of transmission. Some billionaires, especially those in the tech and biotech space, are watching this closely. Some are even funding secret biosecurity projects and pandemic shelters outfitted with negative pressure rooms and air filtration capable of blocking biochemical agents. But viruses and climate aren't the only worries. A growing number of elites are deeply concerned about technological collapse, or worse, technological domination. In an age of cyber warfare, AI arms races, quantum computing, and drone militarization, we are entering a world where control over information and infrastructure can change hands instantly. A single, well-coordinated cyber attack could bring down power grids, banking systems, even military defense networks. The internet has become our nervous system, and billionaires are keenly aware of how vulnerable that system is. For this reason, many are investing in Faraday cages, EMP protection, and off-grid communication systems inside their bunkers. And yet, even deeper than the external threats is a more human fear: the collapse of social order. As the gap between rich and poor continues to widen, unrest is no longer hypothetical, it's inevitable. We're seeing it already in protests, strikes, mass layoffs, riots, and the erosion of public trust in governments and institutions. Many billionaires understand that in times of desperation, people don't attack ideas, they attack people, especially the ones who appear to be hoarding resources, opportunities, and power. One tech CEO admitted in a closed-door summit, "The biggest fear is not the virus, not climate, not even AI. It's the mob. When the system collapses, they're coming for us first." This fear explains why some bunkers have built-in armories, automated defense systems, and remote kill switches. It's not just about surviving a disaster. It's about surviving the aftermath, when law and order may no longer exist. It's about protecting themselves from the very world they helped create. There's also an unspoken truth many elites share: the realization that we've gone too far too fast. The pace of progress has outstripped our ability to govern it. We created algorithms we can't fully control, economies that depend on endless consumption, and global systems so interconnected that one breakdown can cause a cascade. Billionaires know how fragile this web is, because many of them helped weave it. And so, while the rest of the population is being reassured that things will be fine, the rich are quietly asking, what happens if it's not? It's easy to dismiss this behavior as paranoia, and certainly some of it is. But it's also an expression of a deeper truth, a loss of faith. These bunkers are not just fortresses. They are symbols of retreat. They signify that the people with the most wealth, access, and influence no longer believe the system can withstand what's coming. And instead of working to fix it for everyone, many are choosing to exit. In some ways, this behavior reflects a kind of selfishness, an abandonment of collective responsibility. But in other ways, it reflects a survival instinct that lies deep within the human psyche. When the Titanic begins to sink, people don't form committees, they run for the lifeboats. And that's exactly what these bunkers are: billion-dollar lifeboats for a sinking civilization. But here's the uncomfortable question we must ask. If they've lost faith in the future, should we? Or should we instead use this knowledge as a wake-up call, not to build bunkers, but to build better systems? What billionaires fear, we should investigate, not to mimic their isolation, but to understand the patterns. If those with the most privileged information are preparing for global collapse, It doesn't mean we must panic, but it certainly means we must pay attention. Because fear, when it comes from the top, is often the first signal that something fundamental is broken. In our final section, we will confront the implications of this trend for the rest of us. What can we learn from the actions of the wealthy? Should we follow suit or forge a different path? And how do we prepare, not just with supplies, but with strength, resilience, and awareness, for a future that grows more uncertain by the day? What this means for the rest of us, wake-up call or paranoia? By now, the picture is clear. The world's most powerful individuals are not merely building bunkers out of idle curiosity or eccentricity. They are preparing for something. Whether it's climate collapse, social unrest, war, pandemics, or technological disruption, billionaires are betting that the world as we know it may not be sustainable for much longer. But what does that mean for the rest of us? Should we panic? Should we start digging our own holes in the ground? Or should we pause and consider what this truly represents? Not just about the future, but about the present? Let's be honest. Most people don't have the luxury of spending millions on a survival compound. We don't have the privilege to disappear into the mountains or a private island when the world becomes unstable. We live in cities, neighborhoods, communities. Our fates are tied together. So when the elite prepare to escape, it forces the rest of us to face a much more difficult truth. We have no escape but each other. That might sound terrifying, but it can also be empowering. If billionaires are building bunkers, it doesn't mean we're doomed. It means we need to stop assuming that someone else will save us. No government, no company, no charismatic billionaire is going to fix the world for us. Their actions show us this clearly. They're not planning to fix the world. They're planning to survive its collapse. But we have another option. While they isolate, we can organize. While they retreat, we can rebuild. While they prepare to survive alone, we can prepare to survive together. In truth, most of the threats billionaires fear, climate disaster, societal unrest, economic collapse, are not inevitable. They are the result of systems built on greed, overconsumption, short-term thinking, and unchecked technological acceleration. If we want to avoid the dystopian futures the elite are preparing for, we need to stop imitating their survival strategies and start addressing the root causes. That means demanding accountability from institutions and corporations that prioritize profit over planet, creating local food systems and energy resilience that reduce our dependence on fragile global supply chains, building stronger communities where people know, trust, and support one another, focusing on education, emotional intelligence, and critical thinking so that we're not led blindly into the next disaster, learning basic survival skills, not out of fear, but out of empowerment. You don't need a bunker to be prepared. You need awareness. You need adaptability. You need relationships. You need knowledge. These are the real tools of resilience, not concrete walls and biometric locks. In many ways, the actions of billionaires reveal a deep flaw in their thinking. They believe that if the world falls apart, they can hide from it. That wealth can shield them from the consequences. But no amount of money can protect you from a world in chaos. No underground chamber can replace clean air, real human connection, or a functioning planet. They may survive the collapse, but what kind of life will that be? Alone, underground, distrusting everyone, dependent on supplies and systems that eventually break down. That is not a future worth envying. It is a future worth avoiding. The real question we should be asking is not, how can I escape? It's, how can I contribute? How can I help build a world where people don't need bunkers? How can I make my community stronger, more compassionate, more resilient? If billionaires are retreating, maybe it's time for the rest of us to step up. We are not powerless. We are not helpless. We are not ignorant. We can see what's happening, and we can choose to respond differently. Not by hoarding, but by sharing. Not by isolating, but by connecting. Not by running, but by rising. Let their bunkers serve as a warning, but not a blueprint. The warning is clear. The systems we rely on are fragile. The future is uncertain, but the response doesn't have to be fear. It can be vision. It can be courage. It can be action. Every era in history has had its crises. And in every era, ordinary people, people without bunkers, without fortunes, without power, have stood up and shaped the future with their choices. That time is now. You don't need to be a billionaire to protect your future. You just need to be awake. Because in the end, The true shelter from the storm is not beneath the earth. It is within each of us. In our wisdom, in our courage, in our ability to face reality without running, and to build something better, brick by brick, together.